Hello everyone, welcome to Altitude, the virtual event for SaaSOps professionals. My name is David Politis and I'm the founder and CEO of BetterCloud. Now Altitude started 7 years ago in 2014. It was a small but mighty group of 20 people in Atlanta. This event has grown every single year that we've held it by over 100%. Now, of course, we did this in person for many years until last year when we were forced to drive this to a virtual event. Now, in reality, that turned out to be a blessing because we were able to reach over 1,000 people, 3 times more than we had the previous year in San Francisco in person. So it was really exciting. And this year, we've broken attendance records yet again. No matter how you look at it, the momentum around SaaSOps is growing. And for me, that is really exciting. For me to have this many people here joining us for this week is so amazing. Now, the focus for this year, the theme is about taking IT to new heights. So all of the sessions you're gonna see are gonna be focused around the people, the process, and the product required to take IT to new heights. And there's a moment in time right now when IT has the opportunity to become more strategic, to leverage the technologies that are out there, to leverage this new practice of SaaSOps. There is an opportunity right now, this moment in time right now, for you to do that. And that is why we've dedicated this year to taking IT to new heights as a theme. Now, IT is going through a period of reinvention. When you look at the 1960s, the rise of mainframe computing, that was really the beginning of IT as a job function, as a profession. Think about what the job was in 1960s when mainframe computing came out. It was all about making sure that the hardware was running, making sure it wasn't overheating, making sure the hardware was in a physically secure location. It was a very, very different job than it is today. Then there was the rise of personal computing. You started seeing software entering into this profession and thinking about personal computing devices and software. Then you had the rise of client server, and you had workstations at everyone's desk, and you had the challenge of making sure that the internal network was working, making sure that that wasn't overloaded, making sure that the server had enough space, maintaining the software, updating the software that was running on that server or on those workstations. Then there's enterprise computing and cloud computing, and ultimately now, enterprise SaaS. And that really only started, enterprise SaaS is really 10, 15 years maximum. We have a long, long ways ahead of us. Decades. This technology that we're using today, we're gonna be using it for decades to come. And the role of IT has gone from all about hardware, from the mainframe computing back in the 1960s, to all about being strategic in how to use the software that's available, that's being run by someone else, that's being hosted by someone else, that's being secured in terms of infrastructure by someone else. And the role of IT has changed with that. We are in the century of SaaS. This is what all of our careers, we're gonna spend the rest of our careers with SaaS applications in our environments and working around those SaaS applications and deploying those SaaS applications. And you, the people attending today, the community of SaaSOps professionals, you are the ones leading us into this new era. The opportunity for you is massive. Massive. You are the IT leaders of tomorrow. You're the CIOs of tomorrow. Honestly, in my opinion, you're gonna be the CEOs of tomorrow when you understand how SaaS impacts your business and what you can do with that technology. Now, I've spoken to hundreds of IT leaders in the last 6 months, and every conversation I ask the same question. Tell me, what are your top 3 priorities? And it's always the same. Employee experience, zero trust, and IT efficiency. It's always those same 3. 85, 90% of the time, that's what people are telling me. In that order or another order, but it's always those 3. So I'm gonna go one by one here and talk to you about why each one of these is important. I'm gonna talk to you about what we see as the status quo, what we see in people's environments today, but then I'm gonna tell you what is possible. and what other people in your shoes are doing. Let's start with employee experience. In a time like now, when people have a choice of where they're gonna work, employee experience is critical. In a time like now, when everything is being done over technology, every interaction that your employees are having is through technology. Employee experience is critical. All of that falls on you. You can make a big, big, big impact on that. And it's becoming critical because you look at the stats, and companies that have great employee experience overperform compared to their competitors. When you think about companies that have great employee experience, they're 21% more profitable than their competitors, than their peers who don't have a great employee experience. We can just look at our own day-to-day lives at work and know that when we're having a great experience, when we're enjoying ourselves, when we're being collaborative, we're gonna be more successful. We're gonna help our company do better. Now, the unfortunate reality is that for a lot of organizations, that employee experience is not good. People are joining a new company and it's taking them weeks, literally weeks in some cases, to get access to the systems, the applications that they need to do their job. While doing their job, they have a lot of friction. They need to get access to some new application. They have to send in a request to IT, and it takes days to get that access. So it throws them off from all the work that they're doing and the momentum that they have. You think about companies today, there are still companies that say we're only gonna use this one or two platforms, core platforms, and everything we do, all of our work has to be done in those applications, right? That's this heterogeneous way of working that they're not embracing. Right? That we all know best of breed, it's the opportunity is massive, but there are companies that are just stuck on this homogenous way of working. But it can be better than that. It can be better than that. There are ways to give people the access to the applications that they need day one, minute one, second one. They exist. Their technologies exist to make sure that people can request application access, data access as they're doing their work and get that instantaneously. That exists. You can implement that. It didn't a couple of years ago. It does today. There is the ability to pick the applications. Let the users pick the applications that they want to use, giving them choice of what they're going to use to do their job and choosing the best applications out there. Now, zero trust. Let's talk about zero trust. Zero trust has always been, at least for the last 5-10 years, it's been on people's minds. But it was never really critical because there was still this perimeter that was in place with everyone going to the office every day. Because of COVID, that perimeter has just completely evaporated. It does not exist anymore. And because of that, it is critical for IT to understand who is using which applications, from which devices, what access do they have. It is critical, and it has moved up everyone's list from something that people just talked about to something that needs to get implemented today in organizations. Now, I can give you a lot of stats as to why this is important, but just looking at some data from within our product and across the thousands of customers that we have, we see that PII data, sensitive information, is being shared almost 2,000% more than it was a year ago. As people come to trust the applications, the SaaS applications that they're using, and they put more sensitive data in it, the exposure of that data becomes greater. You see that more and more people are taking files that are living inside of their organization, their corporate files, and sharing them with their personal email addresses. We see this over 200 million times in the last year. Think about that in your environment. Think about what kind of data could be exposed. And the reason this is happening is because in many organizations, they're just reactive, right? And I understand why. And again, like I said before, for years, you had no choice. The only way to actually secure your data was to be reactive, especially in the cloud. But that has changed. The risks that are introduced by working in this remote distributed world, that should not have changed the security posture of organizations. But for many people, they weren't ready for that. They weren't ready for the explosion of SaaS applications they were going to be using. And it's created a whole new set of risks for companies. It does not have to be like that. There are companies today that through their people, their processes, their product, that they have actually created self-healing security systems where they're proactively guarding against threats, where they've created an environment where their employees can use any application that they want, any device, anywhere, anytime. They've created environments where that's possible. That is what we should all be striving for. That is the future of work. And ultimately, IT efficiency. If you want to do any of the things I just said, you can't do them unless your team is efficient and has the time to focus on this. If there's one thing that has been true from day one, IT is overworked, understaffed. From day one, that has been the case for IT. As it's been looked at as a cost center, that is unfortunately what has happened. And that makes it hard. That makes it hard for you to actually do the work that you need to do. And I know that this is something that all of you have been focused on from day one. I'm not going to use a lot of stats to tell you why this is important because you all feel it day in, day out. This is your job. This is what you've had to deal with probably for your whole career. And the reality is that you spend a lot of time just keeping the lights on, just doing the work to make sure that the lights that the business can continue to run. We understand that. We know that the number of SaaS applications, the sprawl, the explosion of these SaaS applications has become challenging for you to manage and to maintain. And in general, the amount of manual, tedious kind of work you have to do has gone up exponentially. So that's causing a lot of challenges in order for you to actually spend the time on the important things. But again, like I said, it is possible. There are people today doing it where they're able to make time, make space to do the strategic work, make IT teams happy, make IT teams feel like the work that they're doing is rewarding. There is the ability to make the managing of SaaS applications seamless. All of that exists today. And so, if I were to leave you with only one thing from this whole presentation, what I would tell you is don't settle for the status quo. It is important to look at what your organization is doing, what your team is doing, what your employees want, and don't settle for what the current status quo is, because it doesn't need to be like that. It doesn't need to be like that. The future is bright. There are people who are doing this in their organizations. There are teams like your teams that have pushed their companies to change and pushed for new processes and worked hand in hand with HR, with security, with their executives to make sure that they're getting what they need in order to be successful. And ultimately that makes the company successful, the employees successful, the IT team successful, and it makes you the heroes of your companies. You can become the secret weapon to your company being successful. Now, you probably ask, how do I get there? How do I get there? I love what you're saying, but I don't know how to get there. What are the steps? Well, that is what the practice of SaaSOps is all about. It's all about getting you to that promised land. It's possible. Now, again, it takes people, processes, product in order to get there. And it's changes, right? When we think about people, there's a new set of skills. There's a new mindset, new roles that are necessary in order to get you there. There are the hard skills. There are the skills that are required, just the technical skills, understanding what an API is, understanding how to build integrations, understanding the standards, SCIM and SSO. That is required. And it's a different set of hard skills than you had before. It's not about break fix on the laptops. It's not about the AV equipment inside the office. To be the IT leader of tomorrow, you need to have these types of skills. You have to understand these new technologies. And there's also the soft skills. They're the skills necessary to work with your team, to be strategic, to make sure that you're aligning what your team is doing to the business outcomes, understanding what drives the business, where does revenue come from in your organization. Now, BetterCloud, we're here to help you with this, and we have been for a long time. This year, we've done some new things. For example, we launched our first ever podcast. We launched it about 3 months ago. We've interviewed 12 of the most forward-thinking, successful IT leaders already, and we launch a new one every single week. It's awesome. I ask you please to support me. Go to the podcast, go to the URL that's there on the screen. Go there, subscribe, follow, write a review, rate it, whatever you can do, support us, listen to those episodes. I promise you, every single one of them has some piece of information, some nugget, some golden nugget of knowledge that you're gonna get. We launched our job board in our Slack community. We are helping people find their dream jobs. We're helping people find the companies that they match with, that have that same mindset and want to push the envelope and want to be on the bleeding edge. We launched this job board. It's been awesome to see. Dozens of people getting hired through this weekly, monthly. It's amazing. I urge you to go check that out. And then ultimately the SaaSOps community. We launched the SaaSOps community a year ago at Altitude. We have thousands and thousands of members now in that community. And the conversations are not just about BetterCloud. They're not just about SaaSOps. They're about people's careers. They're about problem solving together. It's amazing to see some of these threads. If you're not part of the community, join the community today. You have a problem, bring that to the community. You'd be surprised how many people are going through the same thing and who can help you solve that problem and collaborate with you and teach you, and that you can teach them. It's amazing. This community has been a labor of love for us for years, and it's awesome. Now the processes. For any new set of technologies, paradigms, periods of reinvention, you need a new set of processes. Now this is hard because you are not operating in a bubble. You need to work across the whole company to make sure that these processes get implemented. But when you do it correctly and when you do it successfully, you can make sure that you are aligning to the business, that you're adapting as the business needs adapt, that you're improving actually the quality of the work that you're doing, the output, to match to what the company needs and to what your team needs and your employees need. It is really critical to think about your processes and challenge all of the things that you have in place today. And we're helping you do that. We have the Monitor newsletter. We've been sending daily newsletters out every single day for over 5 years, Monday through Friday. Tens of thousands of people receive this newsletter. This is how they start their day. If you're not on that newsletter, join it today. I promise you, this is every single day you're gonna get a piece of inspiration, a piece of knowledge. You're gonna learn something new every single day through that newsletter. We also have an army of people capturing and creating best practices content, articles, writing them, ebooks, and publishing them for you to be more successful in your role. There's no company in the world who has produced this much best practices content ever. And then ultimately, we've tried to bring those best practices that we've learned and that we see in our content, that we produce in our content, we try to bring that into the product with workflow templates. So as you log into BetterCloud and you need to figure out how to do something, how do you set up the right onboarding process, the right offboarding process? How do you handle file security? We have workflow templates for all of that, which helps you get there without having to wonder, what is the right thing to do? What are the right actions to take? What should I trigger my workflow off of? We have all of that built into the templates in the product. Now, I'm very excited for an announcement of something completely new. This is something we've never done before, but something our customers have been asking for. It is benchmark reports for all of our customers. Any customer who's here today is going to receive these reports starting in 2 weeks and on a regular basis after that. What I've heard from you is you want to understand how you compare to your peers. You want to understand what your environment looks like over time and how it's trending. Are you doing more automation? Do you have more exposure or less exposure with your files? Where should you be focusing your energy? I've been told you want these reports to give to your executives, to give to your leaders, to show them the work that you're doing. Well, we now have that benchmark report, and it is really exciting. It has been a lot of work over a number of months to get here. Julia and Sean, they led this effort. And they have a session where they're going to be talking about these benchmark reports. They're going to show you what's in them. They're going to show you how to read them, how to understand them, talk to you about the suggestions that we're making within the benchmark reports. So please join that session. I promise you this is going to be game-changing for any of our customers. Now, if you're not a customer and you want to understand what your environment looks like, then you should come and get a SaaSOps assessment. That's where we, for free, will give you a view into your environment so that you understand what's happening, which applications do you have, which files are exposed, where could you be automating more work. This is a pretty big lift for us. We put a full-time person just to do all of this work for you. It's really exciting, and I urge you to go and sign up to get the assessment. And then lastly is products. Now, as we think about products, it all comes down to those three priorities we talked about before: employee experience, zero trust, and IT efficiency. And BetterCloud, since we started the company, has been focused on this. But we continue to focus our energy to evolve like you're evolving. And what I'm most proud of, we at BetterCloud for the last 10 years have been focused on solving these problems. Actually, today is our 10-year anniversary. And what I'm really proud of is how we have created the best product in this space by a landslide. This is why we come to work every day. We come to work to solve the problems that you're facing, to make you look like the heroes in your organization, to automate work so you have time to focus on the strategic work. And what I'm really proud of is that all of this has come from the reviews of our customers. Over the last couple of years, 3 years, our customers have been online writing reviews about BetterCloud. And it's these reviews that drive us. It's this feedback that drives us to keep getting better every single day. So thank you for all the support over all these years. And if you're not a customer, I urge you to learn more about BetterCloud. Join the product keynote tomorrow. Jim is going to be talking about how we help you discover, manage, and secure the applications, the users, and the data in your environments. I really urge you to come and listen to that. He's going to be talking about all the things we've added to the products over the years. It's really exciting. So like I said in the beginning, everything about Altitude this year is about the people, processes, and products required to take IT to new heights. This is a really opportune time right now in IT. You have an opportunity that may only come around once in a career. And we want to help you take advantage of that, make a difference in your organizations, and make you more successful in your roles. So for the rest of the week, I'm going to share here a little bit of what you can expect and some of the highlighted sessions that I suggest that you register for. So later on today, we have Rainn Wilson. Many of you probably know him from The Office as Dwight Schrute, but he has actually had quite a career post The Office. And he's going to be talking to us about the future of work, how work has changed. I'm really excited about this session. And I know that Joe Iantoska, who's interviewing Rainn, has prepared for this for weeks at this point. So I promise a good session there. Then the community spoke. We asked the community, who's the number one speaker you'd like to see at Altitude? And the answer was Steve Wozniak, the founder, one of the co-founders of Apple. So Steve is coming to Altitude, and he's going to be interviewed by Lorinda Brandon, our new VP of Engineering. I can't wait for this session. And then, like I mentioned before, the product keynote, where we're going to have our really great partner in VMware joining us, the most well-respected analyst in this space from Gartner joining us, and one of our great customers who has been really pushing the envelope in terms of what you can do with BetterCloud from Oscar Health. I promise you this is a worthwhile session to attend. You're going to hear about what's possible and where we're taking the product and the vision for the future. And then if you haven't joined Altitude before, you may not know, but I do an AMA or an Ask Me Anything as one of the sessions. This session is not recorded. This session is going to be live with you. And it's full transparency. You ask me anything and I will answer it. Usually we run out of time, but I'll do my best to get to all the questions. Please register for that. And then I get the opportunity to interview Brian Hoyt. He's currently the CIO of Unity. Before that, the CIO of AppDynamics. He's had an amazing career in IT. He is the definition of an IT leader who has become strategic for their organization. And so I'm honored to have him here to be able to speak with him. And then part of that session, at the end of that session, we're gonna have Joe present the SaaSOps Stars Awards. Now, the SaaSOps Stars is where we recognize the people, the IT professionals, the SaaSOps professionals who are pushing this movement forward, who have implemented SaaSOps products and processes and roles and people and have been successful doing that. We had over 100 nominations, so it was tough this year, but we've got some great winners. There are also dozens of other sessions with amazing speakers and really insightful knowledge about how to achieve that utopia, how to actually make a difference in your organizations. So if I leave you with one last thing here, it's join the movement. Join the SaaSOps movement. Help us build the momentum. Change your title, change your team's name, join the community, post a job, find a job on the community, listen to the podcast. Join the movement. It is building and growing every single day. And the impact that it can have on you, your careers, your companies, your employees, it's massive. Join the movement. Thank you so much. Take some time to save your seats for all the different sessions and hope to see you soon. Thank you.